Welcome. It's another beautiful day, and we are back on the program that is the newspaper review here on Top TV. And like we do every other day, we are ready to go through the headlines across newspapers right here on the show. So do well to be a part of this by dropping your comments. Let's also get a reaction to some of the stories we're going to be talking about today. And to do justice to these papers and these headlines, with me today is the beautiful Natasha Brown. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you. How have you been?
I've been,
In this
I've
very
been
tough
all,
Nigeria these days.
I've been all right, thank
You've been
you.
holding up. Plenty of the, fuel hike and all of that. Changes every day as you wake up. New life in Nigeria. All right, so if you're just joining us, do well to subscribe so that you don't get to miss another episode of the program. Subscribe, turn on your notification so that you get notified. Also, stay connected with us on all our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on Twitter. You see those handles below the screen right now. All right, let's get to the papers of the day. We'll begin with Vanguard newspaper for today, the 19th day in the month of July 2023. And on Vanguard here we have as headline, Court asks Echo Bank to pay Honeywell 72.2 billion naira damages. You find that story on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. We also see as headline, exchange rate foreign scholarships to be suspended for 2 years. TED Fund. Details is on page 8 of the Vanguard. Moving on, reps to security agencies stop setting vessels with stolen crude oil on fire. Yeah, I've always wondered why they do that, though. They say it will serve as a deterrent for people because they've seized some of these vessels before, and then they find out that these vessels somehow find its way back to, it's stealing prey. So they kind of like destroy it so that the owners will not go behind their back to work their way back to these vehicles. But how about the environment and the damage it causes? Yeah. All right, moving on to the main headline still on Vanguard here. We see anger as petrol hits 568 naira per litre in Lagos, 617 naira in Abuja. Orders, motorists, commuters grown nationwide. Market forces driving up petrol prices, says NNPCL. CEO Kyari adds no shortfall in petrol supply. NMDPRA blames rising crude prices on freight costs. Ipman worries over fresh rise in price. NLC rejects new pump price, says it's provocative. Adds situation will worsen poverty, hardship in Nigeria. Local refining only way out. NECA. All right, details of all of that is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. We also see here subsidy removal. Tinubu orders review of proposed 8,000 naira cash transfer, plans to unveil further government's palliative package. All right, anthrax. Stop eating meat from sick animals. NCDC warns Nigeria. All right, that's all the headline we'll be taking on the Vanguard newspaper. But then, Natasha, let me come to you. In fact, this morning, while driving here, I was just filled with some kind of anger. I don't know why I was angry. It felt as though I didn't know that we're going to get to this point. Well, most Nigerians already are anticipating that, okay, the fuel price is going to, go up at some point in time. But maybe, I don't know whether we're not expecting it to happen so quickly. And the fact that federal government is also, that they've been so slow in trying to help Nigerians come to terms with the new reality. And right now, this new price is getting a lot of reactions from Nigerians, and they feel that the government is just unnecessarily mounting pressure on the masses. What's your take on this fuel price hike?
Before Tinubu came into office, in fact, before the elections, it had already been touted that there was going to be an increase in fuel price hike. It was already stipulated then, during the Buhari tenure, that it was going to get to 700. And everybody shouted, oh my God, that's not possible. It shouldn't be, but we're close. We're at about 600, 650 in some places, all because of fuel subsidy removal. Now, it's not like Nigerians, we did not necessarily anticipate the price hike, but we were thinking that there was going to be some ease measures. That's
Yeah.
where the palliatives come in. That's where it doesn't just clamp down on us at the beginning of a certain dispensation or a certain tenure. We get eased into it. So maybe in phases, for the subsidy removal to be put in effect, to be put into effect. But at the end of the day, my problem is not so much the fuel price hike. It's so much of what is being done on ground, right? So you see certain states, they're talking about putting out free buses, to help curb all of this going on. In fact, certain parastatals, certain ministries, they've already started telling their workers to come to the office maybe just 3 times a week. Certain companies have also created some incentive whereby you increase the income of your staff. So people are trying to set measures in place, right? But at the end of the day, I really did wish before Tinubu came into governing the nation, I actually would have thought that he would have had all the palliative measures set in stone, by which once he comes into office, he's just able to play them all out. Unfortunately, I'm hearing about the 8,000 naira palliative measure per month, though he said for the poorest of the poor. But even at that, how do we identify the poorest of the poor? What database do we have to that effect? And I understand that, there's a part of reviewing and all of that. And apart from that, I know that Dele Alake, the media aid, he has come out to say that there are other palliative measures also set in stone. So with time, Nigerians will get to see it all. And let's not forget the 500 billion naira also set aside that the government has said that they would judiciously utilize to mitigate all of these pressures, fuel subsidy is bringing about on the people. For me, Tinubu just started with governing us. And first of all, we know that before Tinubu came into office, Nigeria was in a pit. It was in a deep pit. And every time you want to bring something out of a deep pit, it's going to take a lot of strength, energy, a lot of discomfort, a lot of sweat for that to happen. So with all of this happening, and even Miela Kiri has talked about, market forces causing the fuel price hike. He has talked about, Naira right now is 800 to $1. And that has also affected, those importing fuel and all of that. So all of this is affecting at what rate with which you sell your fuel, depending on where you import it from or where you get it refined. So that's why Nigerians are also talking about refining, and Nigerians are asking, you people commissioned Dangote refinery, what's happening? What's going on?
That has not really started working.
It hasn't started working. So why did you actually flag it off if it hasn't started working? So Buhari definitely has to answer for that. That's if he'll do that. But at the end of the day, I feel for a lot of us Nigerians. I mean, the heat is heavy. There's no way you go to around Nigeria that people are not hissing, complaining. I mean, even on social media the other day, I think even till today, they're talking about protests. People want to go on the streets to protest.
More people are countering that, though.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, is it really protest that we need? We said we want the nation to move forward. Okay, fine. What measures will enable us move forward? We have known that subsidy has been one of those things that have really etched deep into the economy. That has something that has been skirted around right from the time of Buhari, Jonathan would have taken it out since, but there was a whole lot of uproar. The average Nigerian does not want any form of discomfort, and we understand it. But at the end of the day, for us to be able to move forward progressively, there's certain changes that will have to happen that, yes, will be almost, debilitating at the start point, but I'm looking at the long-term result of it. That's if the government do right by these monies that they have. For example, that 500 billion they're talking about, what proper measures can they take to help curb all of these discomforts we're feeling? I hope that they're not going to take the part of the trader money, which unfortunately I'm already seeing happening. with the 8,000 naira per month. To which family? Who are you identifying? In what state? How would you disperse that
know that
fund?
the trader money ended up in the pockets of most of their aides.
Right.
Most of their
right. Even COVID palliative, that they said palliative. I mean, did you even get access to that? No. Not like I'm in need of it. But at the end of the day, we see that all of these particular measures have never really worked. So we need something that is more progressive, something more tangible. If it has to be that there would be an increase in salaries, especially like in all the ministries or parastatals. Okay, let's start with that. If there's going to be, okay, so there are some states are already talking about buses that are going to be put out in states for, you know, commoners to be able to use, you know, to help curb it. For me, I'm not even looking at free buses. The buses should not be free, but the buses should at least take the minimal amount before other taxi drivers started hiking their prices. Those people, if normally it's 100 naira, let it be 100 naira. Let the people who can do that still do the 100 naira. Why? Because that will still help put monies back in the conference of
also help to maintain these vehicles because we don't want stories.
Thank you.
And I feel that these vehicles, if we're talking about, because the palliative shouldn't be directed at only transportation. There are many other areas, especially feeding too.
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the palliative measures Dela Lake talked about as well was to disburse free fertilizers and grains to farmers. So, you know, that's another aspect that is quite laudable.
That will help keep the food prices at a optimal state.
Right, but another thing is also helping to empower your people, especially the youth. What do I mean by that? So grants should be more accessible, loans should be more accessible, SMEs should be able to get access to these fundings. Certain businesses that are creating avenues for people to be upskilled should be appreciated, should be looked into, should be invested in, creating an enabling environment for other businesses to thrive as well. So all of these necessary measures need to be put in place. So at the end, unfortunately, even so far, we don't yet have a CBN governor, you know, so to speak. So,
but CBN is still active, though.
So there's a lot. So there's a lot going on, and at this point in time, I'm still hoping to see better things come out of this government. So I'm still hopeful. I'm still watching. I know that it's very discomforting, and my heart goes out to every Nigerian out here, even to myself. But I'm hoping that this is only a short-term discomfort for like a greater, you know, a better outcome. In the long run.
I see that Natasha is coming from the very positive side of things. You know, she's looking.
I have to. I have to. What do you want me to do? I have to know. You know why?
I like that.
You know why? Because come on. For the past 8 years, during Buhari's time, it was back-to-back pressure.
Serious,
And we never expected, for example, even if Peter Obi was going to come into governance, we still do not expect that he was going to pull out a miracle out of his heart.
No way.
Nigeria was basically in an abysmal position. So for anybody to be able to bring us out of there, it will take a lot.
Very bold steps.
Yes.
Very bold steps.
So unfortunately, it is very discomforting. But like I said, my hope is that these palliative measures are actually judiciously put in place and used without any, what do you call it, ethnicism or religious dramas or whatnot. You know, so at the end of the day, I'm really positive, and I'm looking forward to Tinubu doing the right thing.
That's what we're really hoping for.
Hopefully, even though I'm seeing them trying to increase the Senate salaries and all that. That one.
That's another thing that Nigerians are saying, that what is wrong with this government? I mean,
but I think that's on a pause now. That's on a pause.
They should pause that. I mean,
that's on a pause.
When you just a week before now, we heard that just 8,000 naira would be doled out to families, not individuals. Families. For as some kind of palliative support, and then shortly after that, we're hearing that the House of Assembly is making moves.
That is not even up to $100.
10 billion naira on cars, maintenance. I heard some of them say, we have to furnish our offices, we have to this.
Is that the problem that we have now?
Yeah, against the people
a furnished office with an empty brain.
I don't know. So you want to furnish an office against people that you are representing dying.
Akpabio and cohorts wanting to get armored cars? Who cares? Why won't you be afraid? Because you're doing something very useless, so you're afraid people are going to get you shut down.
Exactly. Why looking for armored cars? But then, unfortunately, I don't know. I don't want to think that. I don't know if I would say that this administration started on the wrong foot. I don't think so. Removing the subsidy was a very bold step, and I feel it was the right thing. Personally, I think it was the right thing to do. My own worry from day one has always been, what were the palliative plans? It looks as though there was no plan to cushion the effect.
No, not that. I think that there are plans, but the executioning of it, that's where the problem is.
Why is it so slow?
Well, yeah, because, unfortunately as well, Tinubu has gone into review that whole 8,000 naira. So we're hoping to see something progressive come out of that.
I worry for that 8,000 naira. It's not going to help a lot of Nigerians. How about the people still relying on their current salaries that are just maybe above minimum wage?
They initially also talked about increase in minimum wage, but even at that, all the states are still not able to pay that.
The Labour proposed 200,000 naira minimum wage,
and that is so stupid. It is absolutely stupid.
Why do you think it is?
It is stupid because I know that we are not in that. It is not realistic at this point in time.
They have to start from somewhere.
It is not realistic.
That could be negotiated.
Just look at 30,000. Some other states are still not paying that yet.
True. Some states have been unable to pay 30,000. But then it has to be a figure that could be negotiated. If you go and tell a federal government 50,000 naira, they negotiate it and stop at 40,000 naira, what exactly have you achieved? Because if today you earn 50,000 naira, that is no money. I doubt if you can feed your family for even 1 week. So it's problematic. Nigeria is in a very, very
interesting phase.
Yes. And I'm hoping that, just like you rightly said, we can pull through this phase and maybe believe that there could be some light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm sure Nigerians are groaning and are angry because they don't trust a government they don't trust this government enough to say, okay, subsidies been removed. These monies are going to be redirected into our system to help us get a better, livelihood. They don't trust this government. They don't trust government as if we're politicians. So, and then again, right after the subsidy removal, we see them sharing money right in front of us in the guise of maintenance. Vehicles, whatever that the House of Assembly is doing. That is so insensitive. Wrong timing, wrong move, if you ask me. They seem so selfish. And that's making a lot of people distrust them the more, saying, so now that they are sharing because it looks as though it is the subsidy money they are sharing. What are you people doing? So I'm thinking, yes, government has plans to support Nigerians to go through this phase. But please, they need to hasten up these plans because people are in a very terrible state. My neighbor this morning could not drive his car out of his house. He just told me that, oh boy, let me go and hop on a vehicle or some kind of taxi and be finding my way little. I'll trek a bit too. You see, it is getting to a lot of families. These are, if you thought you were in the middle class, because before we used to say we have the poor, the middle class, and the rich. Now there's no middle class, it's poor, rich. So it's like all the middle class people are falling down to the poverty level. So please, Nigerians need to get out of this space as quickly as possible. So we're hoping that all those palliative plans that the president has should be rolled out as quickly as possible. All right, let's move on to our next paper, and that will be This Day newspaper. And the headlines on This Day reads, Subsidy, Tinubu directs immediate review of 8,000 naira cash transfer. Orders unveiling of entire palliative package to Nigerians. Also, we see illegal ex parte order. Court orders EcoBank to pay Honeywell 72 billion naira. Wow, you heard about this story some time ago about the Oba and the debt, and it has risen so huge, and now guys playing smart. And here we are, something mysterious about this headline though. It looks as though EcoBank that is crying that this man is going away with our money. He's been asked to pay 72 billion naira as damage. What do you think is going on?
It's unfortunate the heat EcoBank is getting due to their, should I say, negligence, and also due to the sheer greed and audacity of
Yeah,
about to their
so
core.
true.
At the end of the day, basically that whole ex parte thing they're talking about is basically an injunction that the EcoBank lawyers forged or forced on Honeywell, which freeze their account for a couple of period, and they were not able to get access to their accounts to do anything. So basically, when the Supreme Court repealed that and said that was wrong, it was illegally done. So they said Honeywell is saying for the time being, this is the damage that freezing our accounts did to us, because we were not able to make certain transactions. Even foreign exchange has also happened upon us. So this is the damage that has caused, and that's equated to 72 billion naira. I'm just looking at EcoBank, and I'm hoping that their lawyers know their onion at the end of the day, because this is a total mess happening before our very eyes. And if not properly handled, EcoBank might just totally crumble with all of this going on. So I hope that they know what they're doing, especially the legal counsel. And then, at the end of the day.
And the Oba Otudekun, I'm just imagining what is going through his head right now. Like, I mean, I don't understand that man. Well,
it's great. It's great. I mean, at the end of the day, you did not fully pay your loan, and your loan accrued some debt, your loan accrued some interest rather,
and then you're playing smart about it.
And you're playing smart, and then you outrightly tell the bankers that you're not going to pay. And even with all of that, the collateral that you initially had, you still get to sell it off, which is Honeywell, and all of that drama. And now they can't literally trace your funds. So it is a lot. It is a lot for EcoBank. I'm just really hoping that the legal counsel know what they're doing, and also the court needs to also do right, by the people. But at the end of the day, it's all about a game of smarts. How smart are you?
It's true.
It's an unfair world that we live in. At the end of the day, the smart will always outsmart that one who is lesser. So I hope both parties know what they're doing.
And in business, some days you win, some other days you lose. All right. We're still on This Day Newspaper. We're taking more headlines. We're moving on to the main headline here. It says, challenged. Okay, no, it's still fair price, but let's take this one. It says, challenged by bleak future, newspaper owners, stakeholders deliberate on ways forward. Also, the main headline, fuel price. Labour threatens to pull out of talks with federal government. Litre now 617 naira. Carry attributes hike to market forces. NLC accuses government of insensitivity. Says no transparency in disbursement of palliative. NNPC GCEO says no shortfall in product supply. NMDPRA blames rising crude prices, freight cost. NECA kicks urges federal government not to kill those it's trying to save. Interesting. Not to kill those it's trying to save. Like, it's more like what the president said. Let the poor breathe. But right now, we don't know if some of them are still alive.
Ebuka wheelchair wrote on his Twitter page. I think he said, "Can we breathe? Or who is breathing?"
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Some people are no longer breathing. So let the poor breathe. We no longer count, because at this point, some families are already choked to the brim. So please, Presido, you are the one that said the word, let the poor breathe. Please let us breathe. Oh, the pressure is getting worse, as they say. All right. Let's look at this headline about Tinubu reviewing the 8,000 naira cash transfers, and he's also ordering that the entire palliative package be unveiled to Nigerians. What do you think they have as palliative that will be enough to cushion the effect of this pressure?
Well, first of all, I think we already said, that they stated giving free fertilizers and grains to farmers to help with the whole fuel scarcity and food emergency we might be having, also due to floods and all of that. They have also mentioned that there's likely to be an increase in minimum wage. So that's
Well, how
also
soon? I mean, the delays are
right,
just a problem.
right. It's how soon, but at the end of the day, these are measures that we've heard so far. There's also the part of the monies that they said that they want to give to the poorest of the poor, which is now going to be reviewed. I don't know how much they want to review to. From 8,000 to how much, I really don't know. That 500 billion that we have that they said they're going to judiciously use, that's where my eye is on.
Okay, yeah.
What are you going to put it into? What tangible areas are we going to see this money outplayed and used judiciously so that we can know that you actually have the good of the people at heart? So I'm really anticipating seeing them unveil all of this. I know that it might not be all that exciting because Nigerians will still see the palliative measures and shout like, oh my God, no, this, but first things first, let's get the first step. What are the measures you're putting in place? Let's see them, let's know what they are, and let's know what we're also going to look forward to. As definitely for the 8,000 naira, I'm sure Tinubu had the outcry of Nigerians like, what the hell? Which family?
Can anyone feed people for 2 days?
So we're looking at that as well. And we know that, there was also supposed to be some tax reforms rather. There were supposed to be more tax, meted out on businesses and all of that. But with the whole outcry as well, he put a pause on that indefinitely. So let's see. Let's see. I really don't know what the whole package is, but I'm definitely anticipating it being unveiled so we know what we have to look forward to.
And at this point, I also expect the government to be engaging with the general public as many times as possible.
No, but so far, I think the media aid is doing well. He keeps us well briefed back to back at every other point in time, addressing every outcry, Nigerians put out there. So far, I think media-wise, they're actually communicating with us. They're not as silent as the Buhari government. They're not as out of touch.
It's very necessary because at this time, Nigerians need to understand why we are going through this pain and how long are we going to remain in this state. What are they doing behind the scene to ensure that Nigerians get out of this, howling state as quickly as possible? So I think they are doing what they need to do, but Nigerians are getting extremely impatient about all of this back-to-back increment, price hike in everything because we run a petrol-based economy. So once that is tampered with, it just
every other thing is tampered with
everything else. And of course, you know what that means for
and unfortunately, even the power distribution company, they're not even helping matters.
These days. Oh, yeah.
They're not helping matters.
Because if that sector was properly working,
yes, it would have helped as well. It would have helped as well.
When you get home in the evening after work, at least you don't have to go and struggle. And
not even at that. Your business, at least your business now. You know that you're not going to have to buy diesel. You're not going to have petrol for you. So now you know that you are faced with, okay, I need to fuel my car and my company cars. So somehow it's helping.
That would have reduced the cost a lot because you could even decide how much movement you have to do.
Right.
Or channel or put all your appointments in 1 day or 2 days within the week while you depend on PHED or whichever is applied to your state for power. But now you have to, run diesel, run petrol to fuel your business and all of that. So it's quite a tough time for a lot of businesses and Nigerians. But we're hoping that the government continue to engage and also roll out those plans as quickly as possible so that, we can get out of this. And Nigerians are not used to this kind of pressure, So yes, it's understandable that once the price goes up, everybody's shouting. For as long as I can remember, this is the highest. In fact, if somebody had told me like 10 years ago that one day you will buy petrol at the rate of 620, I wouldn't have believed it. But I mean, it's happening today, and it's not like it's a time frame something. It's something that is here to stay, sort of. So I mean, it's very, very, very discomforting at this time for a lot of people. But anyway, okay, that's all the story we'll be dealing with on the Disney newspaper. But we're going to take a short break. Please don't go anywhere. We're coming right back after this short break for the rest of the program. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey there. Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
All right, welcome back from that very short break out there. Thank you for staying with us up till this time on the Newspaper Review. We're still going through the headlines right here on the program. Don't forget that you're also part of this. So, of course, drop your comments and your reactions right here on the program. All right, Natasha and I, we're talking about all subsidy, and all of the fuel hike before the break. But on our last paper today, which is the Daily Trust newspaper, let's see what the headlines look like there. We see here, Bond kicks as NBC Malls license fee hike, broadcasting code review. Also, we see here, finally, freight service begins on Lagos-Ibadan fast train. Page 24 is where you get details of that story. Senate may get ministerial list today. Page 32 is where you get details. To the main headline, it says petrol at 617 naira per litre. Federal government on path to dictatorship will resort to self-help. NLC. Commuters groan as commercial drivers hike fares. Market forces responsible. NNPCL. Increase minimum wage to 100,000. Civil society. Tinubu orders review of 8,000 naira palliative. All right, this story of increase minimum wage to 100,000 naira, it would have made sense if they can achieve that, but we don't know if that can happen. And lastly, I'll take this headline. It says here, farmers flee Borno villages as Boko Haram killings return. Page 3 is where you get details of that story. That's all the headline I'll be taking on Daily Trust newspaper. But this last headline caught my attention, the one about farmers flee villages as Boko Haram killings return. Very sadly, this is beginning to get
What is going on in Borno?
Well, you know,
What is going
for
on
a
there?
while now, it looks as though Boko Haram has been put under some kind of, control. But if this is true and this is happening, it's not a good time for us because, the economy is struggling. The agricultural sector is still struggling to balance itself. Let's not also forget that before this Boko Haram story, there's a story of the herdsmen that have been attacking, Benue and killing farmers, making them, flee away from going to their farms. And that could plunge Nigeria into food crisis. See, Boko Haram has started again. They have left schools now. The school girls, the schools. And
Why do I
that.
feel like it is politically motivated?
I don't know. If this is politically motivated, that means it has been for 3 successive governments. And then what are they doing about it? Foreign, how would I call them now? We've heard from reports, foreign agencies, EU, and the rest of them have reported before that, okay, we know that politicians are the sponsors of this Boko Haram. So what are they doing about it? Are they telling us that they don't know who these politicians are? Or what is going on?
And remember, even the Dubai government, there was a time that they released the list of those that were sponsoring insecurity in Nigeria, and that list was not necessarily looked into here in Nigeria. So it even resurfaced again. I think, was it David Hundain or whoever resurfaced the list again. So it is there's a lot going on in the country. But anyway, at the end of the day, new service chiefs have been put in place.
Yeah.
They have work to do. They have their work cut out for them. So it's left to them to do the needful. And for the states, it is a horrible time because they have been at this for the longest of time.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to even imagine the lives that have been lost to this nonsense.
Right. So they've called for the aid of at a national level. So we're hoping that the federal government also helps to look into this. Yeah. It's a new government, it's a new dispensation. They have their work cut out for them. Abetakun said he was ready, was excited about the work.
He feels like a lion.
Good. So they have their work cut out for them. We have insecurity issues, we have criminal issues. And all of this will probably triple if things are not necessarily worked on. For example, because of the increase in fuel and some other increases that they're bound to come about because of fuel and foreign exchange, poverty will increase. Sure. Poverty increases, criminality increases, insecurity increases. You chase foreign investors away. The place seems to be uncomfortable. Businesses pack and leave. The country simply is plunged into further poverty. We borrow yet the more. So this government has their work cut out for them. And at the beginning of the day, Tinubu said he's not asking for anybody to pity him. He asked for the job. He wanted the job. He understands his assignment. So I'm hoping that they do the needful. And I'm hoping that our service chiefs actually do not have as much excuse as the other ones. So
they shouldn't have any excuses. They should not sabotage the process. They should get on with their job.
I mean, they also talked about community policing and all that. I don't know why these states have not yet implemented those.
Well, let's not forget that the presidency or the new government has been in office for barely 5 months. So in 5 months, a lot has already happened.
Right.
And a lot more is still going to happen. So we're hoping that, you know, they are up to the task and they will rise up to their responsibility. And we haven't also had, we don't have ministers yet, cabinet to run this government with Tinubu. He's been doing it with, you know, a few aides of his. But that's not an excuse. He said he understood what he's coming in to do. We're hoping that, yes, he rise up to the occasion to try and fix all of these issues that are coming at him from every corner. Especially this issue of Boko Haram attacking farmers. It's problematic and troubling for me because if they attack the food sector of this nation, it will further plunge us into poverty line, as like you rightly said. People will die. And once people begin to feel desperate, as though, so they want to suffocate us to death, there might just be a revolution that we don't need. It has happened many times in many other African countries.
Right.
Good examples are all over us. So please, let's avoid all of these things. Like you rightly said, the security agencies and their leaders should rise up to their responsibilities and begin to do what is required of them.
And they cannot even say that they do not have a plan, because prior to them coming into being at the top as service chiefs, they were already in the system. They already knew what was happening prior to now. So you should have been able to gather your intelligence reports as to informing what other measures you are going to take to tackle all of this insecurity that we're seeing all around us. So they have no excuses.
A lot of work for them. All right, that's all we'll be taking today on Daily Trust newspaper. And I'm afraid that's where we'll be drawing the curtains for today's program. Stu, thank you so much for staying with us right here on the program. And Natasha, thank you for coming through. Yes, until next time, we'll come your way again. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Stay well, stay safe, and a big body well. I know it's a tough time, but please stay strong until we see you next time. My name is William Sabule.